Alright, so tonight I'm going to start the process of getting my new AMP plug-and-play ECU installed in my GT. I've already gone through and removed the old MS3 plug-and-play here, so everything's kind of already prepped and ready for the new ECU. The biggest thing I got to do is do the options connector. So I've already made a note of which pins I'm going to be using on here. I only use 6 for my I've got a analog wideband, CAN high-low, sensor return and ground for my ethanol content sensor, and then I've got another one for triggering my second fuel pump. Also got, here's the USB connections for my Spartan widebands, so I can plug in there and do all my programming from right here. So everything's pretty much prepped and ready for the new ECU on the car, minus I gotta run the new internal wideband extension connector down to near the transmission so I can get the new wideband connected to it. Car is a 04 GT. It's got a relatively stock Terminator motor. It's just got ARP head studs. Aside from that, ID 1050X injectors, stainless works full exhaust. But aside from that, it's mostly a stock Terminator motor. Yeah, it was running pretty good on the old MS3 Pro, but I was having issues with misfiring under load at low RPM. It would just, like 3200 RPM, it would clear up and it would run perfect at any load. But anything under that, just regular driving, it would misfire and kind of drive like crud. So I am super thankful that AMP was able to help me get into the new plug and play that they've got with the internal wideband controller. I guess I'll have 4 widebands plugged into this thing. If I try a different one, I haven't removed any of them yet so far, so I'm just going with it. I'm just going to have 4. More data the better, I guess, but that's, that should be fine. The big difference, the old one is quite a bit heavier. This thing has also got a metal case on it. The connectors are pretty much the same between the two. They've got your ECU connector, your USB on one side, and the internal map sensor port for the vacuum line on the other side. And then on the back of this one, it's got a 26-pin rear options connector, where the new one has the 26-pin and a 22-pin rear options connector. So there's quite a bit more inputs and output capabilities. So I'm not going to be taking advantage of all that, at least not yet. I might try to play around with some cool stuff later on, but for right now, I'd really like to just get the car going. I think in the last 5 years, I've put like 400 miles on it. Really haven't put any miles on it. What comes in the package? So it's got the vacuum line and the USB connector, the serial connector, the USB connector's in there, but I'm going to leave those alone because I've already got those routed in the car. The Bosch wideband sensor, the extension harness for that all you got to do is pin it into this new Deutsch connector. This guy plugs into the male one here, and these are pre-pinned into the rear options connector, the 22-pin, and then the 26-pin is up here. So essentially everything's laid out, ready to swap over, but I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly which items or which pins I was going to be pinning. So I came into Excel. I get a little carried away with Excel sometimes, so I took their pictures on the instructions, loaded them in Excel, and I built corresponding tables for all the pins. So there were only 3 pins on the old 26-pin that looks like they didn't get carried over to the new ECU. That's your IAT, your external map sensor, and a power ground pin on there. Now, I don't know about the IAT. My assumption is if you want an external one, you could use one of the other input outputs to supply that. If you wanted to use a different sensor, map sensor, same deal. Plus, I believe they increased the capacity of the map sensor over the old MS3. I think the old one is a 3-bar. This is a 4-bar. Not that I plan on going and using pretty much any of that. I'm going to be staying under 30 pounds of boost, so that should be fine. But essentially, all the pins here are laid out exactly like they have on the website. Pins here. The new pin on the new connectors are over here. So you've got your A connector, your B connector, and then their naming convention for each pin is slightly different, which is kind of cool. I've already went in and made notes here, and I made these correlate with the actual pin out on the new connectors up here. So any note I make on my old connector, where I know what's here, it's going to correspond up here, and I've got all my notes here. So I know that pin G on my old connector is now going to go to was that 11 bottom on the connector A. The main reason why I'm going to be pinning this thing out first, I'm actually going to be putting the pigtails into the connectors, and I'm just going to clip them and rewire them. I'm going to do one at a time, just go in here and do exactly that. Okay, I'm going to cut pin G. I'm going to make sure it goes on this connector on this pin. That one will already be pinned into the connector. The main reason why I'm doing that, about half of these connections are different sizes. So what was a small connection or a small pin in the back of the connector on the old ECU is now a small connector, or vice versa. So I want to make sure that the gauge of wire is correct. So I'm just going to clip them all one at a time, and then just move from one expansion connector to the 2 expansion connectors, and then run my new internal wideband extension harness down to the one of the O2 ports on the exhaust. So yeah, that's next step. So I've only got 6 connections on this thing to make. Once those are done, and I route the new wideband, I'm going to go in here and make sure all my configurations are correct and try to fire it up. Again, yeah, thanks to AMP EFI for helping me get the new ECU. Once I get this thing hooked up, I'm going to send them my old one so that they can tear it apart and figure out what exactly was going on with it. So I'll post an update video when I get a chance.